Hey, what's up everybody? TechChucker here, and today I've got a super late review of the Neca Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Secret of the Ooze Super Shredder. This is an amazing figure. We're going to do a very quick review because there's so many other reviews out there already. We're just going to do my quick thoughts on this thing. First things first, the paint and sculpt is super cool. Now, the only thing that I don't care for in the paint is that this looks a little more like their Turtles in Time kind of paint, with the little silver accents there and on the other muscle striations and whatnot, but it still does work. It looks a little bit out of character for the movie look that we're used to with the rest of the figures, but it certainly does not detract at all from this figure because they did an amazing job. I mean, just look at these different spikes and whatnot on here. This is so amazing, and they are soft and pliable, so they aren't likely to break off. This helmet is amazing. They did a great job with this piece. I mean, just look at the paintwork that they did on that helmet. That is so amazing. I couldn't be more pleased with how good of a job they did with this, and the cape looks really nice. They did a great job. It is sized very, very well for this figure. The backside has a bit of a sheen on it, which gives it a little bit of extra style and pizzazz and fits the movie look. For a figure this big, the articulation is actually pretty good. My biggest issue is the neck. My neck piece seems to be in there a little bit off kilter. It's not centered, and so I've been trying to kind of wiggle it to try and get it to straighten. His neck is at a weird angle going that way. I can bring his head back so that it looks like it's straight, but then when you look at it, it's definitely skewed a little bit. So I got to do a little bit more finagling to try and get that to work, but his head articulation is pretty darn good. Just be kind of careful as you bring it back like this. This blade part can catch on these other blades, so just be kind of mindful of what you're doing. He can look up a decent amount. He can look down. I assume even better if I got that neck piece straightened out, and then there's lots of tilt in there. In the shoulders, he's got those ball hinges, and because of the shoulder blades, it is a little bit kind of difficult to work with that, but it does work. He can rotate that arm to a degree. He's got double jointed elbows, and he can bring his arms in a good amount. That's really nice. In the wrists, he has those hinges and the peg. That works good. Let's see, these gauntlets are attached, but there is a swivel, so that kind of is nice, so you can kind of change that up a little. In the torso, there is an upper torso. He can bend forward about that far. He can bend back about that far, which is pretty good. And then he has some decent side-to-side crunch. Then you add in what I believe to be a double ball peg in the waist. He can swivel. Mine's a little bit stuck, so I'm going to be careful with that, but he is able to tilt even more, which is great. You can add in a little bit more crunch, so he's got a pretty good range of motion with that, both of those, and then also backwards. So down in the hips, he's got T-jointed ball joints, and he's able to do the splits about that far, which isn't too bad. He is able to kick forward about that far. That's pretty limited, but again, I haven't said it yet. I don't think you're going to be putting him into super dynamic poses anyway. He can't kick back much at all. He does have a swivel in the thigh. Double jointed knees, those go pretty close to all the way in half, which is awesome. Don't believe, oh, there is a swivel at the top of the knee. That's nice. There is no swivel in the shin. There is a hinge in the ankle. He can get down that far, and then he can go forward about that far. Would have loved to have just a hair more out of that, but whatever. And then he has an ankle rocker. So overall, articulation, pretty darn good. This figure is an absolute beast. It is huge. So let's go ahead and measure him up and see just how big he is. From the feet to the tip of the helmet, it is just shy of 10 inches. It's about 9 3/4 inches tall, which is massive. Let's do some side comparisons or size comparisons. We've got our Marvel Legends Deadpool. He looks tiny compared to him. I can barely even fit all of that in the frame. And then one of the benefits of being super late to the game with all of your reviews is you start getting all the figures all at once, and you can do some size comparisons with the actual figures that are in the same movie. So Tokka and Razar, that's a great scaling, I think. We've got Casey Jones. He's a pretty tall dude, and he is dwarfed by Super Shredder. And then we've also got our trench coat Raphael, and he is scaling very nicely. You can see just how tall that Super Shredder is. It is ridiculous how big that guy is. I'm so excited to have him in my collection. And then lastly are the accessories. Now he doesn't come with a lot of accessories, but at the, what was it, $30 range, it's okay because of how big he is, at least for me. He comes with 7 total hands with the ones that are on him and the extras that came in the box. There's some open hands, there's some slightly less open, some holding hands, which is great. They're all painted very nicely and articulated very, very well. He comes with a TGRI Ooze canister, which is a nice addition to have. We're getting a bunch of those now, which is kind of cool because then you can have little displays with a bunch of those. That's always nice to have. And then lastly, he has this spear, which is a huge spear. It is taller, about the same height as the figure. And so that scales perfectly. It is painted very, very nicely. Very happy to have this piece. It has a little bit of a flex in it, so that's good. It's not likely to break. It's got a great looking blade there. I am super pleased to have this now finally in my collection, hoping that they are going to continue with the movie line. It sounds like they will. What do you guys think of the figure? Let me know in the comments below what you think of it. Were you able to get it? It was a little bit hard to get. Most people never found it in Walmart. I never saw it in the store, but I got it on the Neca shop online, which is awesome to have that option. So let me know in the comments what you think. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe, the bell notification, all that jazz, and I will see you in the next video.